All Things Church of God, Jason Browning, pastor of Metro, Alabama. Bro, you sent a video last night. We're a part of a group text that is wild.
That's a
And
great text.
it is wild. You sent a video last night of your sanctuary, camp meeting happening there. What a beautiful facility you guys have.
Oh, man, we're so blessed. First, hey, thanks for having me on here. I've watched and I've seen all this cool stuff, and when you texted, I was like 100%, I'm in.
Thank you, man.
But thanks for letting me be a part of this. But yeah, we're in the middle of camp meeting week. I'm at home this afternoon because I'm going back for the MIP commissioning service and all the cam stuff. And so I just came home for a little bit at lunch to, get some stuff done here at the house. You know how it is. And we're in the middle of camp meeting week. Yeah.
So beautiful facility. This is how old's your sanctuary?
So the sanctuary is built in, I think, 1999.
Okay. Raymond Culpepper.
Dr. Culpepper, yeah, he oversaw the whole vision of that piece. And it was so amazing because if you look at church in 99 and church in 26, there's a lot of difference. There's a lot. And so many times you would run into places that are older and it's like the facility doesn't facilitate the ministry. But this one, he just had such foreknowledge, and we've got great gathering spaces and great commons areas. Like I sent you the video, the sanctuary is beautiful, but man, you would love the rest of it. All glass commons, beautiful children's space, separate building for life groups and things. He really did a great job laying that out.
Incredible. So was he already in like international work in 99, or he was just the pastor here? That's kind of where he started and where he was birthed.
He was pastoring in Birmingham in 99. I don't think he left until, I want to say, 2001.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The church started in 1981 in a little school.
Okay.
In Birmingham.
But not him. He didn't start the church.
Yes, he did.
He started it. Wow.
It was an amalgamation of the River Chase Church and the Vestavia Church of God. They just put them together, and there was, I don't remember exactly how many members, but it was, 30 or 40. And he just did a great work, and there's great people here too.
Yeah, so, for sure. Show them your cup. Show them your cup. Your Starbucks version. Let's see the cup. So we give this to first time guest.
Here's the thing, Jamie. We give it to guests. We give it to members.
We just give it to everybody.
We do. And I'm like the criminal because nobody on staff will really give the cups away, but me, I think they're free or there's just candy. Hey, you guys want a cup? I think I gave one to an air conditioning guy the other day. He was on campus doing where he's like, "Hey, you drink coffee?" Yeah. But we like the Starbucks.
Can you bring me one to assembly?
100%.
Okay. Anybody else who wants one at assembly, just comment on this video, and Jason will bring us some to assembly.
Listen. Would love to do that. My staff right now would be panicking, but we'll figure it out, right? So yeah, it's the Starbucks Been There series, and we did it for Metro. So of course, you got the Metro Church of God, and then all of these are just like icons of stuff that you'll encounter.
Is that you or Raymond preaching?
This is me.
Okay,
this is me. Yeah, this is me.
I love it, man. I love it. Any other really cool ideas that you're doing as a church? Like, hey man, you guys obviously giving away a cup like that is super cool, super innovative. What's something else you guys are doing that is reaching the community or reaching maybe visitors as they're walking through the door? Anything else that you guys got that's hot right now?
We're doing Generous Church program with Operation Compassion.
Okay. Yeah, we just went to the they had I don't know, a little hub of it in South Carolina to kind of tell us all the details of it. And we sent one of our outreach people there, and they came back raving about it. What an incredible opportunity.
We're going to try it at back to school bash and just have a big community deal and do all that. And then something else we're doing kind of internally that's been a real win for us is, when it comes to our new membership orientation, we used to have a class. You'd sit down for 3 hours. I would talk to you about stuff. People would fall asleep. It was just tough for sure. Everybody. So we just kind of reimagined it. And what we do now is if you want to be a member at the church, you come on a Sunday, we take you for a tour through the whole facility. where you meet the pastors and leaders that are over that facility and they tell you how you can get involved. And then it ends in the sanctuary with me, where I talk about doctrine, history, and polity, how our church handles the money, and just kind of the vision of the
Nice.
church.
What day do you
And
do
then
that on?
we do it on a Sunday,
Okay.
and all of our elders come in and lay hands on the new members and pray for them. And then we have a big dinner together. And so,
Love it.
yeah, it's
Elders are your spiritual leaders. They care for the flock. Is that what they do there at Metro?
sure. Yeah, we're structured in a way that we've got ministry elders that help us with administration and with ministry things. And so we designed a thing called the Family Care Program. I designed this thing about a year ago, and we basically just assign families to elders, and they have weekly contact with them. And then
Love
if
it.
there's something big that's going on, they call the pastoral staff, call me.
How would somebody watching this get connected to Operation Compassion to be a part of that generous what is it called? Generosity.
Generous Church. It's
Generous
Generous
Church.
Church. Again, this is going to be our first go at it. You just go on the website and call Operation Compassion, ask for a guy named Randy Ringler,
Okay.
and we're going to buy a box truck of stuff from Amazon and give it away. I think it's $7,000 for us,
Yeah.
which is a pretty big ticket. But at the same time, if you do it strategically, I think you get great buy-in from your community. And I want to have a reputation of a church that loves the community and wants to bless them.
Agree
Yeah.
completely. Agree completely. You just had camp meeting, or you're in the middle of camp meeting. Does it
Tonight's the last night of camp meeting.
with my boy JC?
JC's preaching tonight. Yeah, that's going to be great.
He's awesome. Great friend of
Yeah.
mine. I love JC.
I do too, man. We're not super close, but the time we spent together, I've just been impressed.
Yeah,
Good
awesome,
dude.
awesome dude. So having camp meeting at your facility, I don't think people understand the stress that comes with that. I'll start because obviously we have prayer conference here. We've had quite a few events.
Yeah.
Both Church of God and other ministries using it. We've got the Gaither Vocal Band coming up, and we've got Kane coming up. We had Chris Tomlin at Christmas, so we have quite a few things like that here in our church. The stress level of, first off, people beating on your walls and all the things that they're tearing apart that they don't even realize, and you're like, yikes, don't put tape there. You're gonna rip off the sheetrock. On top of that, all the stresses of the service where you're sitting there crossing your fingers, hoping the lights work like they're supposed to and the sound doesn't squeal and, the mics don't die or whatever. You're sitting there crossing your fingers in service to make sure all of those things go right. And then you have all of the logistical stuff all around you that people are texting you in the middle of service saying, hey, pastor, I know we're supposed to have this green room ready for these, meals afterwards. The food's running late. What do I do? And so you're stressing with all of the logistics around the facility. I don't think people realize the stress that comes to your life inside of this season, but also the really cool honor that it is for the Church of God in Alabama to pick your church to do camp meeting at.
100%. And so, that's what I'd lead with. It is an honor to serve. Like we're grateful. We've got between our two buildings, we got about 100,000 square feet of
Incredible, man.
It's huge, and it's a blessing, and we want to use it. And the stress that you talk about, it's not exclusive to camp meeting. Like you said, we've had Mac Powell, we've had Tim Tebow, we've had all kinds of folks come in. And so
I did see your picture with you and Tim.
Tim Tebow, yeah.
That was awesome.
The first time I met him, I looked at him and I said, this is a lot like looking in a mirror. And dude,
he felt that, huh? He felt that.
Up some great conversation. Yeah. But anyways, back to camp meeting.
Yeah.
So it's not exclusive to camp meeting. So I'm not picking on camp meeting. There are some stresses, and our church, we run we have about 750, 800 members. We run about between 500 and 600 on Sundays. But camp meeting, we'll get 1,000 people in there. And so there's facility stresses on air conditioners. There's facility stresses on bathrooms. One of the things I learned quickly was we just went ahead and hired a bathroom monitor. And every hour she goes in and just to make sure, because water on the countertops and taking the trash out if it's overflowing. And then you get people together, and so what happens when somebody gets sick and you got to run a carpet cleaner real quick?
Yeah.
I just there's all kinds of stresses that come with it. Um,
But it is a
I
super cool honor.
It's super great, and you get to be able to open your facility and have people come in, and yeah, maybe it gets a little hot sometimes, or maybe the power goes out because it's a summer storm.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect, but we just try to offer what we have so the denomination can continue doing what they're doing. So it's a blessing.
Yeah, we're Church of God through and through. You and I, we talk. I would say daily inside of this group text. But
Almost, yeah.
we have very similar like heartbeats. Like, man, we love our church. We love our, Jerry Madden hates when I call it a tribe. We love our tribe. We love what it stands for, all of the things that it's able to do. I remember maybe let's kind of talk General Assembly really quickly. I remember a few years ago, I feel like you did like a live Today Show version of intro and outro of the services from General Assembly. Didn't you do that sometime?
Yeah, for probably the last 4 or 5 General Assemblies, I've been involved in that. That was by invitation through the Church of God Media Department. I think Brandon Guyton is the one that
Okay.
kind of runs all that. Brandon and his brother, and there's a whole group of people that do that. And basically, they were just trying to get something kind of like a soft open and a soft close. For the Church of God General Assembly has over 100,000 people that will watch it
Yeah.
online, like all around the world. And sometimes if you just jump into the middle of a business session or you jump in the middle of something's going on, you might get a little bit lost. And so we hopefully tried to provide some context for what was happening. And then sometimes if it gets a little dicey on the floor, yeah, we take it out. They take it out. They're like, hey, let's talk about it. And it's a great opportunity too to really promote ministries in the Church of God that maybe people aren't aware of. So yeah, I
So
did some
so
of that
that's
stuff.
what y'all do. Y'all are like, hey, don't forget we've got Operation Compassion, or don't forget we've got whatever God's Pit Crew or whatever it is. Is that a part of what y'all do? Almost like
100% ministry to the military, just all kinds of neat stuff that's going on there. Highlight mission work, and I'm like I said, I'm just a super small part of that. I get invited to do it sometimes, and I've been just it's a privilege for me to do that, and it's a lot of fun too.
super cool. I love it.
Yeah.
I think the thing and I've told you this coming into this moment, I think the thing that people are going to most, they're going to like this podcast the most because we're going to talk about this subject.
Okay.
You were at Westmore for how many years?
Almost 12.
12 years. You were
Yeah.
serving your pastor there, Pastor Page, well. You were serving him, and there was almost like hey, Jason may be the next guy that takes over, talks going on. But your mind was, I'm serving in this, we kind of call it the second seat, that administrative or associate type role, executive role, to support the pastor and make sure that his vision and dreams can come true. So let's talk. I don't want to say this in any sort of derogatory way, so help me. Let's talk serving from the second seat. Is that a kind way to say it? That feel like
Yeah.
I'm not slighting anyone by saying it that way.
I don't think that's a slight at all. In
Okay,
fact, one of the books that I read, I can't remember who wrote it, was Leading from the Second Chair.
there you go.
And so I like that. And really, you know, when you talk about Westmore, that's a dear place to me, and those are beautiful people. And it's easy to serve in a second chair with a guy like Kelvin Page
Yeah,
because, I loved my time at Westmore, and it was great. We never really had conversations about, hey, you may be the next guy or not. I appreciated that about him because sometimes you get in situations where guys want to make kind of false promises to kind of keep you around.
yeah,
But Kelvin was a blessing to me. In fact, I'll tell you this story that was kind of amazing. Part of my role there was to oversee the budget and do some administrative stuff. And when it came time when I was in the process of coming to Metro, um, it was dicey. We weren't sure if we were going. We weren't sure if it was the Lord's will. We weren't sure if the church wanted us or how that was working out. And I never had to leave Westmore. He invited me to stay, but we were
Awesome.
getting to a point where we had to get a budget approved. And this is how gracious Pastor Kelvin is. He said, I want you to write two budgets, one with you and one without you. We'll get
Wow.
them both approved. And if you stay, you stay. And if you go, then you go. And so that makes it super easy
Yeah.
to lead from a second chair.
Okay, so
Yeah.
your role there was to he had vision. Your role, I'm assuming, was to take his vision, decipher it, and make it happen. Is that a fair, application of your role?
That's pretty fair. It didn't take a lot of deciphering. He's pretty clear on his vision. There was a lot of implementation of the vision. There was a lot of communication points. One of the things, and now, the old saying is that providence is most clearly seen in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
Uh, and so now I look back and I see how God was preparing me there for so many things here. One of the things we did, we went to a stewardship school together to talk about how we do stewardship campaigns, and that's benefited me now in so many ways. But we would raise money. The new youth building was kind of the last project that I was involved in there at Westmore, and so we did all of that stuff in house, and it was a blessing to me. But the implementation of his vision and knowing when to give pushback or a different perspective, and always trying to do that in ways that are um, not derogatory or a put down. Like if you see something differently, again, Kelvin was great. If I had a different opinion, he wanted to hear it. That didn't mean we went with it,
Yeah.
but he was open to those things because he's not an insecure leader.
I love
And
that. I love that. All right, so let's push here just a second. So
okay,
I'm a guy sitting in the second seat at a church that the pastor is awesome as well. And I don't like the direction we're heading in a said project or an upcoming event or whatever it is. What does that look like? You just knock on his door one day and say, "Hey, can we chat about let's do something super stupid and simple. Let's say, "Hey, we've got a fall fest coming up. Let's chat. I really don't like the direction we're heading here. Obviously, this is not the sort of stuff you're dealing with, but let's do something super simple, super stupid. That way, talk us through what you're doing whenever you're, having those conversations with them."
okay. So the first thing I'd say is, have you earned the right to say it?
Okay,
Like how does he know without a shadow of a doubt that I have his best interest in mind
love
at
it,
all times?
love it.
And one of the things we do here at Metro, and I kind of picked it up from Westmore, is we always assume the best about each other first.
Love it.
Like if you bring me something and I have a negative slant about you, and I'm wondering, is Jamie out to get me? Like what's going on? Then everything trust falls apart. And so we assume the best. Have I earned the right through being faithful in my duties, through taking care of the things that need to be taken care of, through following through on the assignments that he's given me? Like, so have I earned the right to go, hey, I'm struggling with a fall festival?
Yeah.
Okay. Second thing is this: right time, right place, right spirit.
Come on.
Book of Acts,
Come on.
Paul and Silas go into prayer, and the girl's following behind them and says, "These men are servants of the Most High God who show us the way to salvation." Paul turns around, casts a demon out of her. She was saying the right thing, but she had the wrong spirit behind it.
Come on.
And so right time, right place, right spirit. Like if I look at Pastor Kelvin and he's just been in a heavy series of meetings, that's not the right time for me to come to him.
Yeah.
Know? If we're at lunch with the whole staff and I'm struggling with fall festival, that's not the right place for me to come with him. And then if I'm struggling with something, I need to pray about it before I go to him because I might be wrong about it. Now, having said that, I would go in and just say, "Hey, can we chat about something? Like, are you open to talking about something real quick with regards to the fall festival?"
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, he's like, "Yeah, what's on your mind?" And then I would never approach a situation without at least having some alternative option.
Love it.
Like, don't just bring me problems, man. I can get problems from a lot of different places. Don't just bring me problems. Like, bring me a solution. And really, I'm so blessed here at Metro because My staff does that. Clint Johnson's my associate pastor. I don't want to sing his praises too loudly because I don't want people to try to steal him because he's fantastic. But yeah, that's kind of the thought process in my mind and heart about how I would approach disagreement or something along those
Okay,
lines.
so you're 12 years in, and now you're saying, I feel this stirring inside that I may take a next step. What? Okay, and again, we do this terribly in our denomination. What does that conversation look like between you and Pastor Page? What does that conversation look like of, hey, this is stirring in me? Obviously, you did it with honor and he did it with honor to be able to present two budgets. What does that conversation look like between the two of you guys of, hey, there may be a next step in my life?
Okay, so couple of things. Metro was not the first church that approached us about pastoring, and so the first time that happened, Pastor Page, brought us in and was like, "Hey, brought me in. He was like, do you feel that in your life? Like, is this something that you want to do? Because some people have the calling to sit in that second chair, and that is not a devaluation of their ministry
Agree
at all.
completely.
Like that's their whole ministry, and that's exactly what it should be. And so he helped me process through some of those things. Second thing that was great, he helped call out those leadership gifts in me. Like he would affirm those
Love
things
it.
and say, I can see this in your life. Now, Westmore and Metro were a little bit of a different situation because there was high visibility, I guess
Mm-hmm.
is the way to say that. And really, that made it tough sometimes. Like when we were still at Westmore, good-hearted people would go to my kids and say, "Hey, are you guys moving to Birmingham?" I'd be like, "Oh, don't say that." And so we'd walked through kind of similar processes before, but when it came down to Metro, um, we talked about it, and I think transparency is probably your best tool in those situations.
Yeah.
You know, like as a leader now, I don't want anybody hiding anything from me.
I agree completely.
You
Like,
know,
I
I
want to help you succeed. Let me help you.
mhm. And I think where we struggle sometimes as leaders is we think if this person's serving so faithfully and they bail out, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
But just like with members and money and facilities, like every part of our help comes from the Lord.
Yeah.
He's the maker of everything in our life. Colossians, in him all things hold together. And so, I don't want to build a church that's dependent on a personality, or if one person walks away or one giver leaves, that the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah.
And so we just trust the Lord in everything. And so Pastor Kelvin was super gracious with that. He affirmed callings and gifts and strengths in me. And when the time came, we were super transparent about it. And then when it was time to leave, I wanted to make sure that I blessed him back and that I didn't show up on a Wednesday and be like, "Hey, I'm out Sunday."
Yeah.
You know. And we still have such a great relationship. He called me a couple weeks ago. Was like, "Hey, you remember that stewardship school we went to? Do you have that notebook stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So that's a big part of it, I think.
That's so awesome, man. Okay, so now you are in a season where you're transitioning from the second chair and you're stepping into one of the most well-known churches in our entire denomination and a history of having incredible leaders, the tip of that spear being Raymond Culpepper and Jason Browning with no lead pastor experience is tabbed as the leader of this now, I'll say, famous, established church. And what is that transition like?
Sounds weird when you tell the story that way. Um, it sounds
That's
really
not
weird.
how it felt like at all.
I'm still learning so much in this process.
You've been there how
Uh,
long?
I'm in my eighth year.
Eighth year. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's a challenge for me to not think through the lens of a second chair sometimes and to trust my team and to delegate.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. It's a challenge to delegate it. Like last night at camp meeting. Okay. This is so wrong of me. Like this is This is a terrible thing to do, but I'll just put my laundry out there. I think
Yeah,
that's what people do with your podcast, don't they?
absolutely.
This feels like you should change this to like the confessional or something. Where people, bless me, Jamie, for I've sinned or something. I don't know. Anyways,
Uh,
last night at camp meeting, it's Pastor Loran Livingston, and so we're anticipating a large crowd. And if that happens, we have to bring chairs out. And so I find myself in a hallway with two facilities guys going, listen, you want to stack your chairs in
yeah,
here, then you're going to do this and this and
correct.
this. And I'm going through logistics, and they're super gracious. And you know, my associate pastor had already covered it.
Uh-huh.
But and then I'm going, I'm in that mode of
Yeah,
logistics and administration. And so that's a challenge for me, that to be able to release it and go, you know what? I've got more than capable people who are anointed to do their jobs. So I don't have to be the expert in every area.
that's right.
I've hired professionals for that. They're going to do that.
Man. So was it a long time before people at an established church with people like Raymond Culpepper, who I'm sure there were other great pastors. I just remember, like, even
Kirk
back when we were
Walters
at
was the
League,
pastor there.
Kurt Walters, man, I love that dude.
Amazing, isn't he? And Mark
I
Schrade,
wept with that dude at a dinner table one night whenever he told me his story.
he's amazing. He
Bro,
really is.
he's awesome.
And then Mark Schrade was before him. Do you know Mark
I don't know
Schrade
Mark.
down in Orlando? Mark's doing amazing work. He started in West Virginia. Now he's in Orlando. I mean, just an incredible guy. We've had some great leaders. Yeah.
So you walk into a church where they've had great leaders, established church, well known all across our denomination, and how long did it take for them to start maybe honoring the gift that you sometimes maybe even struggled seeing in yourself?
I think it was it took longer for me to do it than them.
Yeah,
They came to it with a blank slate. And I think really hindsight being 2020 here, I think part of what I did at Westmore didn't just prepare me, but it was needed. So it was a really low Sunday, my first Sunday coming
oh
in.
no.
And so we're like 4 million in debt. We're $30,000 a month in a payment. I mean, and just the amount of people that were there, you can do the math. It's like, there was a little bit of, okay, what did I just step into
Yeah,
here? And I think in that season, we didn't have any money to hire staff. Like, we didn't have an opportunity for that. And so for a little while, I was functioning in that associate role too. It allowed me to fill in some gaps that the church needed for a little while. And I had some other great people there with me that were serving, and they've moved on and done different things now. But anyways, the people have been gracious to me at
yeah,
Metro, and they've been kind when I mess up and when I have failures or when I don't quite get it just right.
yeah.
Um, they've been super gracious.
Is Alabama a tight state? You guys like all tight with each other, like some of the other, like I remember I had Kip Box on recently, and we were talking about his state, and all of them. It feels like this huge brotherhood inside of Western North Carolina or Eastern, whatever it is, Northeast, yeah, maybe Western. It feels like this huge brotherhood for him. Is
Yeah.
that how Alabama is, or are you guys more? Because y'all have some big cities, so I would think it would be maybe a little more fragmented.
So we've got pockets. Now, we always love each other and look out for each
For
other.
sure,
But just like other places, you got some pockets that gravitate
for
toward
sure.
each other. And kind of your central and north, and then some, in your south. Mobile, like in South Alabama, those guys down there are killing it. There's so many great pastors in Mobile. And then up in Huntsville, you've got some great pastors, Gadsden. It's really, it's the kind of state that when you walk around camp meeting, like you can talk to every single pastor. There's nobody that's really shunning you or pushing you away, but everybody's super, super kind. Yeah.
Is Travis Johnson engaged in all things Alabama, or is he like I know he's all White House and doing all those sorts? Does he show up to even? I know this is a stupid question. I asked this about Loran recently, and they were like, "Don't talk about Loran on the podcast." I'm like, I was just wondering. I wonder how Travis like does he show up to like camp meetings and stuff?
When he can, like you said, he's got some big stuff going.
He's got some big stuff. Dude's in the
Yeah,
White House all the time.
I'm grateful for Travis's representation and influence from our what's your word? Our tribe.
Our tribe,
Um,
yeah.
our tribe, and he's walking in places that a lot of us just don't get those opportunities. But you know what? When he's able, he comes,
Yeah.
and I see him at stuff all the time. I actually grew up in Florida with Travis. We went to youth camp together, and me and him and his brother Philip, and he's just a great dude, man. He's a great leader.
Yeah, he is. Great leader, phenomenal leader. Let's talk about Lee University. You and him were at Lee together. You
Yeah, he's a couple years older than me,
Yeah,
but
I was about to
yeah,
say he's a couple years older than you. You're a
yeah.
couple years older than me. And
You know,
so what are you like 47?
we could just say that if you
We'll
want
go
to.
there. We'll stay there.
I'll be 50 years old this year.
Let's go, boy. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll be 50.
You and the great Scotty Hager were roommates at Lee.
We were. We
And
were.
so you have
I'm
all of
open to working another roommate situation with Scotty if that comes up in the future if he needs to.
you have all the Scotty stories, I'm sure.
Yeah. Scotty and I know so much about each other that we have to be friends. Like
I
to keep
love that.
the person happy.
Scotty never joined a club at Lee. He was in DZT. And then you went the Theta route.
I did.
Yeah.
I was Theta in DZT.
Yeah.
So I was in DZT for Scotty. I'm the reason he got in.
Attaboy. Your wife was at Lee as well?
She transferred in my senior year. She transferred in. I met her at Church of God camp meeting in Florida at Waimama.
Okay.
And her youth pastor.
I don't even know what Y Mama is. What is that?
Bro, come on, man. That's like the granddaddy of all camp meetings. If you go down to Waimama, Florida, there is the John D. Nichols Worship
Come
Center.
on.
Bro, you would love.
Who ain't never invited me to Y Mama?
They're having camp meeting this week. It's a little town, like not much to it. I mean, it's growing now. There's stuff all around there. But there was a farmer that kind of lived in the town. He had three daughters, Wilma, Maureen, and Mary. And so he took the first letters from there and made it My Mama. And so, yeah. Anyways, we met at her youth pastor tried to set me up with a friend of hers and a friend of mine up with her. So after church, we all went to Beef O'Brady's.
Nice.
Yeah. And we sat down
and you're like, sorry, friend, you're not getting this one. This one's going to be mine.
Bro, you're out. You're out, man. And so then we worked youth camp together.
Nice.
And then and she saw I was wearing a Lee shirt. And so she was like, hey, I may be transferring to Lee. And God was doing an amazing work in her life and preparing her. And I just was looking for a good looking girl. Yeah. So the real thing where like she was very spiritually involved. Like, I want to know about Lee and what God has for my life. And I was like, I will tell you everything. So that's how that was.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So I was in DZT. She was in DZT. Yeah.
Have you been back to Lee to like speak at chapel and stuff?
Yeah.
That's incredible, isn't it?
I love convocation and chapel, and
me too.
It's one of the most intimidating places to speak because you gotta hook them in the first 30 seconds.
You better.
Yeah. Otherwise, and what's the anonymous app that they go on and roast you on? Do you know about? It's Yik Yak. Do you know about this?
No.
What are you doing right now?
I'm about to go download Yik Yak.
No, don't do it.
No, don't download Yik Yak.
You put your zip code in, and it lets you choose like college and universities, and then it's anonymous.
37311. Is that what the
something like that? And so the kids just like roast chapel speakers on Yik Yak.
Oh no!
Who's OP Taylor up here preaching? You know, stuff like that. It's terrible, but it's fun. If you survive the Yik Yak, you're okay.
Dr. Phil Cook, if you ever watch this, bring Jason and I back. We're ready.
Dr. Phil Cook, all gas, no break.
All gas, no break, baby.
Right, yeah. We loved our time at Lee.
Same.
And actually, the first time I ever spoke at Lee Chapel, I got a call early Tuesday morning because their chapel speaker was sick, and I was a fill-in.
Let's go.
Because, I preached at Westmore. When I was at Westmore, I would preach maybe once a month or so. Mm-hmm. If you only preach once a month, you can really take your time and get a good sermon together, you know?
Yeah.
And so I guess I got one together. And they were like, hey, our guy's sick. Can you come in? And I was like, sure, we'll try it. And I think I've been 12 or 14 times. I think I've
Incredible, man.
been great. It's so great.
Incredible. Yeah, for sure. Let's end with this conversation. I feel guilty doing anything fun. I need therapy for this. I understand. I struggle with I'm supposed to be always about the Father's business. You got your Masters golf shirt on right now. You love to golf. You have probably from Pastor Page figured out some stuff about rest. How do I play golf and not feel guilty? I say me, but the pastor out there that's struggling to do anything fun because he's afraid that his church members in said town will see him and he'll struggle to do anything fun because he feels guilty and probably because of some words or some slights that people will give him to say stupid stuff like, oh, you're off again today, huh, preacher? Whatever. Like, how do you mentally manage that?
Okay, we can talk about it. But first, I would say I don't know a high capacity leader that doesn't feel the way you're describing right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anybody who can just quickly, go into vacation mode.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a challenge. And Dr. Livingston talked about this last night, and then afterwards we were at a dinner together, and it was like, the Sunday's always coming. Like your mind is always turning toward what is the Lord saying to his people, and
Right.
and how am I supposed to articulate that? And I don't think that's supposed to ever go away. Like that shepherding instinct of God, what are you saying? Like I always want to be on ready.
Yeah.
I always want to be on ready. In my own life, and I can't speak for you or other people, but I can speak for me. In my own life, sometimes I see myself as a hireling, and that's wrong. Sometimes I see myself as working for people, and that's something the Lord has to correct in me. When I find myself in those spaces of, so and so will say something, or I feel guilty for doing these fun things, um, I have to make sure that I'm not believing a works based gospel, and that I'm
Which
not
is
living.
tough.
It's very tough. It's very tough. And the other thing that that I remind myself of when I hear those comments of, it must be nice, or, you know, preachers only. I'll tell you a story in just a minute. You're gonna love this story. When I hear those comments, um, I take it as a compliment in some ways, because I think most people see themselves as, I'm the only person that would say this, which if one person said it to you, it doesn't bother you that much. But if you have like 20 people say it to you, you're like, oh man, this is so heavy,
Right.
But none of them think about the other 19.
Right.
So our microwave went out, and I couldn't fix it through YouTube. So I go down to Lowe's to buy a microwave, and I'm standing there, and the guy's doing all this stuff, and there's like 8 people waiting, and there's another associate trying to get the computer going. And so everybody's standing there listening, and the guy says to the other associate, he goes, man, the computers are super slow today. And he says, they were slow yesterday. And he says, I don't think they've worked one day this week. And then the guy waiting on me
No.
said,
No.
yeah, it's like a preacher just works one day a week.
No.
Yeah. So then it goes quiet because the computer's still spinning. Everybody kind of chuckles for a minute, and then it goes quiet for a minute, and then just like regular conversation. He looks at me
What do you do?
In a volume that everybody can hear, and he says, "So what do you do for a living?"
I love it.
And I was like, "This is my moment right now." And I said, "I'm the pastor of the Metropolitan Church of," And he looked at me
No.
and his eyes got so big. And it felt like the moment when Jesus was writing in the sand because all the people like the Pharisees just drifted away. And
I
he goes,
love it.
he looks at me, he goes, and the computer starts working. He goes, "What's your email address?" And I went, Pastor Jason at Metropolitan. Like I was not letting this kid off the hook. And it was so great. And so I don't know any leaders that are high capacity leaders that don't share that same sentiment that you talk about, I feel guilty.
Yeah.
But we got to be reminded, man, that you know what? God wants good things for us. And I can't effectively minister if I'm on empty all the time.
Yeah,
Like I got to be refreshed.
for sure.
I gotta be able to relax and I gotta be healthy and I gotta take care of myself mentally. And I've got to be able to just push away from the crowd and be away and just enjoy some things from time to time.
Yeah.
So
Agree
yeah.
totally, man. It is I think probably maybe even more so in the generation before us where it was almost a pandemic of pastors not being able to take time away and honestly even stealing from their families at times and stealing from their health, their own health, as they were trying to constantly keep the kingdom of God at the forefront of their mind, not realizing what they were actually doing was hurting themselves and the kingdom of God by not taking care of their own mental health and emotional and spiritual health. And so I thank you for moments like that to where young guys watching this says, okay, Jason's got the weight of the world on his shoulders, but he can take a day off and I can as well.
Hey, Jesus died for the church. You don't have to.
Amen. Amen.
So you can do that. Hey, what about General Assembly? What's going on with General Assembly this year?
I can't wait. I
Talk to
am
me.
so excited.
Talk to me.
I love all things assembly, and I think that we're going to have a little bit of ruckus.
Where's the ruckus?
We're going to have a little bit of ruckus. I think we're going to have some ruckus with the I think the agenda's out now, right? Everybody seen the agenda now? If not, the agenda is everywhere, okay? Just ask a buddy. Send me an email. I'll send you the agenda. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have it. But I think there's going to be some ruckus with the can people pastor and also hold executive level leadership roles. I know this is going to affect Scott Shepard specifically. He and I have talked about this privately, just about how this affects his life. I think the unintended results will be, how does that affect the state level? I think we will say things like, well, if you don't have to be full, again, this is not Jamie saying this is what Jamie thinks. This is what I think will happen on the floor. I think if we'll say things like, well, if that person can pastor a church and lead at the highest level, then certainly someone can pastor the church and lead on a state level. And so I think that will have some unintended consequences no matter which way it goes. I think it'll have some unintended consequences. I think that will be the hot button topic of the assembly.
I think that'll be a pretty big one too. And, in my opinion, I think it depends. It depends on the role. It depends on the person. It depends. If you look at some other denominations that are even larger than ours, some of their upper level leadership, they function well that way.
Yeah.
And then you look at some denominations and it's a struggle, with the way that their structure is set up. I think it depends on the role. I think it depends on the person.
And I
on the season.
I think for me, when people ask me, how are you voting? I think for me, my stance is it really doesn't matter to me either way. I just think it's great to have the answer at the end of this. We walk away from assembly. Can you or can you not? Because if let's see, I'm 45 now. So let's say, 60 assembly, 20, 30, 40, 20, 40, whatever it is. I am sitting in and my name gets brought up there. And I'm like, I don't want to give up my church. Hey, go ahead and take me down. I'm good. I love Palmetto Point Church. I want to be in Myrtle Beach. Because of decisions made this year, it will make decisions when people are older from now much easier because we know that's a choice, a line in the sand that you have to make a choice at the end of this.
Yeah, I think there's great potential for that. Exactly what you're saying. And, you know, very rarely do we get everything right.
Yeah.
But a large part of leadership is doing something,
Yeah.
like make a decision.
Make a decision.
And
Let's
that's what
just
we're
figure
going to
this
do.
out.
We're going to make a decision, and there will be parts of that decision that'll be fantastic and right. And then there'll be other parts that were like, I wish this was a little bit better.
Yep.
But you got to make a decision.
I
So
was
let's
talking
do
with
it.
Johnny Moore on this. One of the other things that's coming up at the assembly is the Brother Probst is out of time.
Okay.
So we have to vote for his spot. So the easy answer is to move Brother Ramirez up into his spot, and then have somebody else vote somebody else for the assistant. Then there's conversations of can somebody jump him. I'm sure everybody's hearing these conversations. So those conversations, but I was having conversations with Johnny Moore on a podcast, and he was talking about how we need to have somebody that has executive level leadership vision type experience and someone who has missions type experience in those roles. And he talked about even almost having like in the future at some point having a motion to where, hey, you have to have done XYZ to be able to be recommended or to be able to be voted on some of these boards, because you got guys that step into those roles. Thankfully, probably not recently, because I love all the guys that have done it, but you have guys that have stepped into some roles that may not have been fully invested in that area of ministry. To me, it'd be like, voting John Childers in as the youth director. He'd still crush it because he's John Childers and he crushes everything that he does.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
his heart's probably not in youth ministry anymore.
100%. And I think what you're identifying here is we struggle with the concept of transference.
Yeah.
Like some traditionally in our denomination, if you're really great in the pulpit, then we assume that transfers in other areas. This is actually a term that Jerome Hammond introduced me to.
Come
It's
on.
the halo effect. Okay. So have you ever seen like where people will, am I going too long? Like,
No,
do
you're
we need
good.
to?
You're good. I love
Okay.
it.
Have you seen where people will like stick a microphone in LeBron James's face and be like, LeBron, tell us what you think about the presidential race
Yeah.
and who America, like, so they ask him questions about political leadership or national leadership.
Yeah.
This is the halo effect where we assume that if a person is really gifted in one area, we put a halo on them and say they must be gifted in other areas. Okay. And then the reciprocal is true too. If someone's terrible, we assume that there's nothing that they can do right. Like someone could have a brilliant financial mind, but if they're in prison, we're just not going to take financial advice from them because they messed up.
Yeah.
They did something terrible or whatever. And so sometimes I think in our group, if we're not careful, we'll just assume, okay, if a person is great in this area, they must naturally be great. This is something we teach our staff all the time. If there's weeds growing up in the sidewalk and the carpet's torn and there's trash overflowing, then nobody's going to trust you with their soul.
Amen.
And so, let's do the little things and earn the right to speak in the other areas. But when it comes to, our denomination, sometimes you don't know, and so I think you're right. Articulating and clearly defining what the role calls for and what is the requirement for the role. I think you never go wrong with clarity.
I know we'll get to the end. We'll end here. Is
Okay.
there ever a day where we actually say, hey, in our tribe, in our denomination, where we say, hey, I'm actually running for this office. Please vote for me. I know we've kind of shifted and had some of those conversations behind the scenes, and now recently it's even moved to social media. Is there ever a day where it's like, okay, hey, who's interested in this role? We need to know so that we can see your credibility, your stance that you're taking, what you want to do inside of our denomination.
Okay, so I would say on the surface, that just feels shady a little.
It does.
Like it feels political.
It does.
It feels self-promoting.
In our group chat, we talk about this often.
We talk about this. I think it feels self-promoting on the surface on those things. But I'm a big proponent. I think that if it's the right direction, you can find a way to do it. And so I would take the language of campaigning out.
Okay.
And if there's a person that wanted to make themselves available to serve,
Like they do in a
you know,
local church. Hey, that church is available. I'm interested in being a part of, to pastor that local church. Same sort of concept, right? On an international level.
100%. And in our membership class, we make them all take a spiritual gifts test so that we can match them up with where they go. So what's wrong with matching up pastors with their strengths and their leadership? And so, yeah, I don't know if we'll ever get to a place of campaigning.
Yeah.
But I wonder if there are other church denominations that do similar things like that. Are there other groups that would say, "Hey, listen, I'm available to serve, and if I were serving, this is what I would do, or these are some changes I would make." You know?
How about our buddies, Josh and Trey? Have you ever been hunting with them? If so, is there a story you'd like to share?
I have been hunting with them.
Okay.
And I just say this. I feel like with our text group, like I'm on the edge, with Chris and Scotty Hager and these guys, I feel like I'm on the edge of getting adopted into South Carolina.
No doubt.
Okay. Like I feel as if I'm close.
You're close.
And I'm nervous that if I share or overshare or disclose too much information, that I could quickly
Understood.
not just get text rate, but I might not get in South Carolina. Like I might not get. But I will share this one story.
Okay, let's hear it.
We're sitting in Kentucky on a pastors in the outdoor retreat.
Okay.
And they have specific requirements of what you can and cannot shoot on the first. And they say you need to harvest a doe first.
Okay.
And Trey loses it.
Sounds about right.
You mean to tell me if I'm sitting in a tree and I haven't shot a doe and 160-inch buck walks out, I don't think I can hold back. Like Trey goes off on this whole thing. Well, the organization is run by some really great Baptist brothers, and I don't think that they don't articulate the same way Trey does. They're passionate, charismatic, and they're sitting there looking at this guy going, "What is happening?" Because Trey is like full pulpit mode. He's like, "If that buck walks out, I'm killing you right now." I mean, he's going off, and these guys are like, "Whoa, like who's in our hunt right now? What's going on?"
I love that guy.
I love those guys. The story I've got about Josh is forever sealed, according to the authorities.
Yeah, they tell me you have a dead shot. You are laser focused.
You're breaking up, man. You're breaking.
Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate you being here.
Time to head out, Jamie. Pastor, what a great opportunity for us to close our time together.
I love you, man. I'm proud of you. I appreciate you. Can't wait to see you at Assembly.
Hey, thanks for letting me do this. Thanks for inviting me to do this. I'm super proud of you and the work that the Lord's doing. And I don't know if proud to use the right language to use there, but like you're a person that I want to be able to say, hey, this is one of our guys, and you're doing such an amazing work. So thanks. Thanks for all you're doing.
Appreciate
Love you,
you,
buddy.
Love you, man. Peace out.